Yeah, this is pretty wild. I don't think there's normally a creek right here. And there's a lot of backed up calm water and braided little channels in the islands where it's not fully muddy yet.
How do you work together as a team to pull off all these top finishes?
As this larger one kind of took some time really filling up, but these smaller ones, your smaller tribs, fill up and get muddy quicker, and what that does is it kind of swings out, and all this area on the sides all the way down fills up with mud.
We both had the game plan to cover just a massive amount of miles today. Yesterday we did just under 34.
Score. Got the blue croc.
88.75, which means Ryan Parker is the winner. Wow, impressive. 90 inches, there we go.
Hey folks, I'm in Wyoming County, Pennsylvania, which is way up on the north branch of the Susquehanna, and I'm up here for the Kayak Adventure series. And I'm not competing in this one, although I am going to compete in the next one in Wisconsin. I'm going to team up with my buddy Josh Shrenko, and we're going to do the team thing there. Today, because I'm not competing, I'm going to fish outside of the boundaries of this tournament, and I'm going to fish with my buddy Hans, who designs kayaks for Bonafide Kayaks, and yeah, we're gonna enjoy the day fishing, despite the fact that we have hurricane, or what's remaining of Hurricane Debbie. I guess it's a tropical storm, if it's even that. It's a lot of rain though, a whole lot of rain. We're gonna look at some strategies for how to deal with that level of rain coming in. I just hydroplaned a little bit there. In terms of looking at creeks, looking at which area is muddy first. I'm gonna do some illustrations here in a little bit to kind of talk through all that, because that's the kind of thing, looking at gauges and making good decisions on, all right, where am I gonna find the clearest water. We're gonna grab some breakfast before we get in the water, and then we're gonna have a very soggy day out on the North Branch. What did you see on the way here in terms of like,
water-wise?
Yeah,
I saw one that wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
And then I saw several that were pretty murky.
I saw a creek that was totally like green and untouched.
Yeah.
And then I saw like parking lots where it was just rolling mud across it.
Yeah.
And just trashed. So
it's kind of crazy that you could be like one ridge to another and it's just
that's how these
clear water.
Storms work. Like when it wants to dump, it just dumps. And I looked at the predictor.
You want to?
We better eat quick.
We can go to the TSC and get a canoe.
Yeah.
You want to try that?
They probably, it's like the quintessential box store that doesn't sell PFDs right there.
Right. Yeah. Good luck with that.
No, I looked at the Wilkes-Barre gauge, and it's like a wall.
Mm.
Yeah. So we should grab something to eat here at the Town and Country Grill in Tunkhannock. Tunkhannock.
Yeah.
And wolf it down, and maybe we'll get 3 hours. This is just like our trip on the North Fork Holston.
Yeah, this is it.
A race against time.
Fishing with me.
It's his fault. Every time we go, it rains, but not normal rain.
Yeah.
Like how's the arc coming rain?
Yeah. Get to building it quick, because you're gonna need one.
All right, let's grab food.
All right,
we got a little bit more of a drive down to get out of range of where the competitors are fishing, which is an hour drive or more. I think we're at an hour and 5 minutes to get to this particular launch. We're gonna race 2 miles upstream to get to some islands which I want to fish in the middle of the river because these creeks are already dumping in. The creeks are not where you want to fish early in this historic rise. The last of the, I don't want to say clear water, but clearer water is going to be in the middle of the river. Let's take a quick look at an illustration of how things set up early in a big rise like this, and where the last remaining fishable water is going to be. Hey folks, I'm actually at a conference room in Thomasville, North Carolina, Boondocks. Don't have my full complement of Sharpie markers, but I do have a clipboard and a pen. Let's do that illustration I was talking about. All right, so this was a section of river that we ended up on. I did find one Sharpie. I'm gonna pull this off. So as the rain came, really, you had tributaries of different size. This larger one kind of took some time really filling up, but these smaller ones, your smaller tribs, fill up and get muddy quicker. And what that does is it kind of swings out, in all this area on the sides all the way down fills up with mud, right? So you got a mud lane on this side, you got another one starting on this side, and this is early in that rain event. You know, this larger one really starts pumping a little bit later, but it swings out into, and this Sharpie that's out of juice kind of actually works for this. But what you're seeing is you got mud lanes on either bank, and you have other ones that are further upstream that are coming increasingly further and further out into the river. Now, the last area where you're going to get some of that clarity to be remaining are these islands out in the middle, and in particular, we do pull up into spots like this. You got clarity here. Even as the mud comes down, it swings out around and kind of pinches off here, and you know, it swings in, comes around, but in between these little grass islands, in the larger islands connected, you do have remaining pockets of clean water until the whole thing turns mud later on in the rise, and we'll see that progress here in just a moment. So some velocity, but this is like not bad yet, but out there you can see that that's mud, and I feel like we've got, the clock is ticking, especially with that that predictor showing it going straight up later today. So good water clarity, like right here.
Yeah, this is not bad.
No, so we'll catch some fish.
Yep.
So let's hurry up and put in and run up 2 miles to those islands and see what we get into.
Yeah, looks like we can do it.
All right. As soon as we got here, it opened up. We could hear the rain up on the mountain there, just like a raging torrent of water. It sounded like it was just the rain hitting the trees. But let's take a look at the Kayak Adventure series so far. With like 2.5 hours in, Ryan Parker is in the lead. He's got some 19s in there. It's nice, good total, and a 12 he's got a call. So yeah, there's some fish to be had here. I know from looking at his social media post from this morning, he looked like he was putting in on a creek. I think it's hit or miss whether you hit a creek that's blown out, because I've seen a lot of them that have been blown out, or whether you hit one with this style of rain, which isn't very even-handed. They're just bands where one area gets destroyed and the other is untouched. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, people are catching fish, you know. We're 27 deep of people that have submitted, and the first one that hasn't submitted is Steve Baker. I know that Steve is not at 0 right now. He's probably waiting to upload. Probably waiting for some dry fingers to touch his screen to upload some fish pics. All right, we'll take note of how much of this shoreline we see right now. I think by the end of the day it'll be a little bit different. Hans was asking, he's like, we better move it up top, right? I'm like, yeah, it's gonna come up quite a bit. So I'm gonna park my vehicle and we'll start zooming up. Alright, I got a little bit of re-rigging to do from last time I was out. It was pretty clear water up on the Juniata. So as we make our way up, I'm going to show you a couple different baits that I think are going to play into what is pretty muddy water already. First one is this cotton cordell rattle trap, what they call it, the super spot. I like that gold in the mud. I also like that it's fairly lightweight for the size that it is. That lets me slow it down so that they can track it fairly well. North Branch is a great crankbait river, so I got a dark colored crayfish crankbait here with the quad lock, or the quad hook there. A black jackhammer is always a good idea in muddy water. I might have a jig, little finesse jig, if I want to slow it down and I have a concentration of fish that you know, that I know that they're there. I'll pair that up. And then this is a wonderful search bait. This is the Pro Assassinator clacker spinnerbait. A lot of water resistance to slow this down, and a good dark skirt, and you know, I put a dark trailer on there as well. So that is a big fish catcher in muddy water. So, all right, let's start heading upstream. I will tell you, I'm probably not going to have this camera out very much longer if it's raining the way it is. I think I'm going to rely on the GoPro, and unfortunately my audio may not be great, so we'll see. But we're in between rain right now. It's a creek right there. I can hear the raging torrent of it dumping out where it comes in right underneath that bridge. So let's make some tracks, get up to these islands. There's basically zero chance of me having audio commands for the GoPro. I've been yelling GoPro start recording for like the last 5 minutes trying to get it to do anything, and I'm gonna have this thing within arm's reach to be able to manually, I think I want it on the other side, manually start recording. Like, the rain noise is deafening apparently to the GoPro. So the amount of debris, logs and stuff that's coming down is sort of indicative of this rise already happening pretty substantially. A lot of logs, leaves, branches, just a lot of stuff coming down. Yeah, this is pretty wild. I don't think there's normally a creek right here. Like, there's not the structure for a creek. It's just a rock wall. But this much water is just dumping down. Crazy. GoPro, stop recording. Score. Got the blue croc. So all this stuff, I bet, is what's currently washing out of the islands that I wanted to hit. And we fished along the way. We really should have made a beeline for them, but it's hard to not just start casting. It should be right up around the corner. We've found a big eddy as we got up close to these islands, and this is like a huge eddy that's it's the last like remaining little pocket of clean water. Interesting. Yeah, you can see that someone has not fully stirred up the cream in the coffee here. Yeah, this is, it really shows, but this is like 2 foot plus of visibility, whereas everything else has been muddy. So this is disappearing, this kind of clean water. And I should probably be fishing that current seam out there. Tough for me to reconcile that pocket of clean water, and it was clean, didn't produce anything. And I think, I don't know what to think. I think I'm not catching fish yet. I'm gonna go check out these islands. I think they need, like, it's still summertime and they want to be in current, but anywhere there's current, there's mud already. I definitely flushed some big fish out of this little notch here, which is the top of some grass. A series of grass beds that kind of come out that way. It's kind of the highest up in the deeper water that I've been able to find. It kind of channelizes up here. I'm going to keep going, and I think they could have been carp, but you know, with the water coming up, they're all going to end up in the same place. You know, they all kind of cluster together at some point, and you know, they all have the same needs to conserve energy when the flow really comes up, and it's really going to come up. But it was encouraging to see some movement. I had something follow that assassinator clacker spinnerbait, but didn't commit to it. So we'll see. It's not totally ruined clarity in here, so I think you can for sure see the black jackhammer. It's a knockoff croc. Man, we got a pair. They're not quite the same size, but you know, let me see if they're at least left and right. No, I got 2 left. Darn it. So Hans caught one. He found this creek mouth right here that's actually pushing out clean water, which is bizarre. He got one. He got a smaller one in here. I will tell you, my internal alarm clock of, hey, maybe this isn't safe to be out here anymore, is starting to warm up a little bit. You know, my pride says, hey, let's stay out a little longer, but my rational brain is like, no, because we've had some real strong gusts, and I don't know that it's worth staying out in it. It's amazing how much wood is coming down. Like, there's a lot of debris flying down here. We got one on the rattle trap. Yeah. Not really clear water. And he's cold. I believe that this is water that was released out of a reservoir, probably to make room for the massive amount of rain that's coming, because it's unusually cold, as in, I think it's probably a bottom release, and, you know, call it one. Yeah, I don't know that it's going to stay out much longer. The amount of big debris that's coming down right now is impressive. There's a big tree there. I don't know. There's just debris everywhere coming down. So we're going to start moving back in the direction that we need to get to the to where we parked, but it's getting worse by the minute. Is this where you saw the carp? I believe it.
I only fished it with a chatterbait, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna go in with this high tech. It's so murky though.
All right. When we were here this morning, the water line was somewhere right out here. Now it's considerably higher and rising. Interesting day. All right, crazy day. Hans and I each got one fish, which I think might be the same fish. I don't know.
I think so.
he got a 12, and he's like, "There's fish in there." I went in, I caught a 12. Probably the same fish. These guys did considerably better. So, what are your totals?
90 on the button.
Nice.
And
What'd you
I actually don't know. I think 81, 82,
Okay.
somewhere around there. I
Tell
should
me-
know, but I don't.
And you guys are teamed up, so and you guys are probably sitting pretty for Angler of the Year or Team of the Year points wise
Yep.
after this one. So,
Yeah.
but give me a rundown. What was your day like?
Long.
Oh.
Adventurous.
Yeah.
Very good.
No, we did. So we had a game plan to do. The basis of it was covering a lot of miles. We did a float with motors, and we did just under 34 miles.
Oh my God.
It was doing that requires knowing exactly what to hit, very specific targets, and eliminating a lot of water in between that is just not productive at all.
Yep.
So
We had, but after 2 days of practice, we had mostly building blocks of a pattern, and I think that we made the decision that let's take what we've learned now through 2 days and put it back into this long float that we'd done Wednesday, just sampling. So now we know what water to blow through, what to spend time on,
yeah.
what baits are working in those areas, and just adjust with the water, really, because it was coming up fast. And
Talk to me about water clarity. What kind of water clarity were you guys able to find? Because like we went to the backs of these islands in the middle, and we had pockets where I might have had like a foot and a half in certain areas, but there was no current on it.
No.
And I didn't feel like those fish wanted to be in an area with no current. They were in areas with less. What did you find in terms of visibility?
Yeah, visibility probably wasn't that deep, but it did need it absolutely needed current. If it was clearer without current, it was almost a non-issue. You weren't even looking at it, or you weren't even casting to it.
Yeah, it became to a point where we were breezing by inflows, just looking at them, and if it was chocolate milk from here to here, go to the next one. We were looking for anything that had a discernible color difference, and I don't think we ever found anything that was more than a foot of clarity.
No.
And honestly, the foot was in the most stagnant, strained water, and it seemed like the most productive stuff, at least in my opinion, was the stuff that had, that 6-8 inches of visibility, they could still find stuff. You could get in there and get to it. But mostly,
kind of a happy medium.
Yeah, it had that current still moving through it, but it was, I'd say, slow at best most of the time.
What did you guys do to really call them in? Like, what kind of presentations you have that
it was all loud. I mean, everything big loud. Big Colorado spinner baits, jackhammer, obviously.
Yep.
I don't think I caught a single fish on top water this entire pre-fishing into the tournament. They just didn't want to come up for anything. They would go for. We ended up getting on a little bit of a crankbait bite, but it didn't really amount to anything.
Size, size was not much, but even those were like, I think I was throwing like a 2.0 hard knock, just chartreuse and bright red, just obnoxious as all get out, and
nice.
But almost in a good way though. That takes a lot of your bait choice, narrows it down, and makes it a lot easier.
Yeah,
you don't
that's
have
the way I always look at it.
You don't have to take certain things. You don't have to think about even casting certain things.
Black and blue or white, and the louder the better.
Yeah,
bigger, louder the better.
No time wasted.
Cool. The more water I can displace and the slower I can move it is honestly better, in my opinion.
Yep.
Very cool. Well, I appreciate you guys sharing a little bit about your tournament day. We're going to find out tomorrow who won it, but yours was the biggest that I saw before the leaderboard turned off. And
fingers crossed, but it's a Susquehanna, so I don't feel safe.
Yeah. I mean, with the conditions deteriorating as the day went on, I don't know. I know you get that nervous look, but I think
if someone found something special, late, it could have happened.
Yeah. All right. We'll find out in the morning.
Sweet.
Thanks going, guys.
All right. Take care.
B guys for the team division. Team Loveland Canoe and Kayak, Ryan Parker and Steve Baker. Wow, they got a couple good finishes now as well for that Team of the Year race, which is going to come down to the wire. So this is pretty much, it's kind of a blowout here for the team, so it wasn't even close. You guys were both on some fish, and did you guys fish together, separate? What was your strategy in this team?
We fished together. We decided to literally go with the flow. I think that helped us. We covered what?
No pun intended, go with the flow. Bobby Roast Beef, boom, hit it. I'm just kidding.
We do have a good video.
We got a video. Let's go. After Steve talks, we're going to show a video. Steve, what was your thoughts and just concerning and pertaining to the team division? How did you communicate in pre-fishing? What were you guys strategizing? How do you work together as a team to pull off all these top finishes?
Yeah, the biggest thing with this was there was, in pre-fishing and some past history here, there is a decent amount of dead water that you kind of need to get through. So we both had the game plan to cover just a massive amount of miles yesterday. We did just under 34. And basically hitting really teeny tiny spots that were producing. So that was the game plan going into it.
So 34 miles in one day, in the whole long day. So you guys had 6:30 a.m. fishing to 7 p.m. and they finished 2 hours early. So this could be a new record. Someone mark this in the record books for a one-day tournament fishing. And what happened when you got back to your truck at the end of the day?
It was in about 2.5 feet of water. It was starting to creep into the cab. Fortunately, it fired up right away. I was able to drop into 4-low and chug out. But at one point, the hood was underwater.
So good thing you finished up early. 88.75, which means Ryan Parker is the winner. Wow, what a comeback tonight. Almost topped him. Woo! I bet you were nervous because you were climbing up. You can take your second place trophy while you're here, and we'll get you your checks here later. You guys hang out there, and we'll get you checks. But Ryan, dude, you've won 2 Kayak Adventure Series events. That's impressive, yeah, that's impressive. So congrats, man. And that means you, my friend, can put that one down if you want for a second, or maybe you can just hold it up there. You got all the hardware.
Hold them up.
Hold it all up, yeah. So that's impressive. 90 inches, there we go.